I think the best thing that I did for my dating life was to cut out all that mindless texting. All that good morning, what are you doing today? Nothing much, what about you? Oh, I'm gonna go to the gym. I don't have to have another conversation even resembling that one ever again. I've had enough. I've had enough to last a lifetime. I don't need any more. That's a really good way to get like emotionally connected to a man who has actually done nothing to like earn that. So now I just let him know off rip, like I'm not a big texter, which is true for me because I really don't even text my friends that much. I don't like texting, but I'm not a big texter. If you want to get in contact with me, you can schedule a phone call, no surprise calls. We can set aside some time during the week to sit down and have a phone call and get to know each other, or you can schedule a date. It's up to you, but you're not, I do repeat, you are not going to blow up my phone with text messages. I'm not the one. So not only does it like weed out the ones who really are not about it for real because they're going to be like, oh, I don't have time to do phone calls throughout the week, or I don't have time for a date, then you don't have time for me. So it weeds out them, but it also is like, can he stick to a scheduled day? Can he keep his word? Can he call when he says he's going to call? When we're on the phone, what is he choosing to talk about? Like, what is he using this time for? Is he actually getting to know me, or are you just sitting on the phone to sit on the phone? So yeah, skip the texting, baby. Take me straight to the good stuff.
Hey ladies, how would you want your man to reach out to you when they're trying to know you or be in a relationship with you? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Also don't forget to like and subscribe.
When I was in the dating world, I absolutely hated texting. But I did it anyway because that's what people were doing. Until I realized that the men that were texting, that were in the dating world also, and on all of these dating apps, they were mindlessly texting because it's an easy way to talk and communicate with multiple women at one time. Once I realized this, I cut out all the texting, and I basically required that if you wanted to get to know me, that you had to call me every day, and there were certain windows in which I allowed you to call me. That in itself weeded out all of the ones that weren't any good, and I met my husband.
Please stop texting people, hey, sup, how's your day? What's going on? 400 times a fucking day. I get it. To a lot of people, they think texting is how you connect with somebody, and the only way to keep somebody's interest is to text them a bunch of times so that they're not going to forget about you. But part of dating with intention is also texting with intention. And having something interesting to fucking say. You can check in here, there, and everywhere. You can make a phone call. You can ask how somebody's day is. But if every text is, hey, sup, not much, you, same, working, LMAO, then don't fucking text. There is no weight or depth to that conversation. Honestly, it just annoys me because then it's like, okay, cool. Why do we have to text and why do we have to bother our time? It's boring as fuck, honestly.
I love how knowledgeable our generation of women are. I'm so proud of you all for setting high standards for yourself. I'm so loving it, okay? Because whenever a man spends more time talking than taking actions, I automatically assume he's trying to want to manipulate me, if you get what I mean. Because all talks and no plan is such a turn off, you know. It's also a sign that you're being used as a placeholder. Text messaging is one of the easiest low effort way to communicate with someone who you want to be in a relationship with. Most of these men test multiple women in a day, so I would say don't take text message seriously. Ladies, you need to look out for actions, the actual dates, phone calls, FaceTime. For me, I would say testing is so lazy when it comes to dating, so it's a no-no for me.
One of the biggest lessons I've learned in dating, and I will die on this hill now, is to not constantly text somebody in the early stages. This was so fucking hard for me too because I love to text, especially if I really like you. And I always used to think like if they're not responding fast, if they're not texting me morning, noon, and night, they don't like me, but that's honestly just not true. Texting so much at the beginning creates such a false sense of intimacy. And I feel like that's why so many of us get so hooked on a guy so fast, because we're constantly texting them all day, every day, and we feel like we're creating a connection and we're getting to know them. And what's really happening is we're getting attached to the idea and the fantasy of the person versus the actual person. All the good mornings, good nights, how's your day, what are you doing, all day, every day should be when you're in a relationship. Anybody can portray any persona over text, and most of the time manipulators, love bombers, men who just like are playing games will be the most amazing texters but not put in any effort anywhere else, and then we start catching feelings, we start falling in love with the idea of them versus who they really are. At the beginning, checking in a few times a day, making plans, talking on the phone, that's perfect. And then as things progress, you can start texting more and more. You do not want a fucking pen pal.
It is time for an unpopular dating opinion. I think you should talk as little as possible between dates early on in dating. Here's what I mean by that. A lot of us, myself included in the past, have a tendency to get really invested in someone early and then want to text and text and text and text between dates. Not just to set up the dates, but to ask them how their week is going, to hear what's going on in their life, to flirt back and forth. And I understand the appeal. It feels nice to get attention. Everyone likes a little bit of attention for the most part. And it's nice to feel validated over text by the person that you're dating. That being said, in the past couple months, I have taken the approach of trying to communicate as little as possible between dates. And I pretty much only text or send voice memos with the intent of setting up another date. And I have gotten so much benefit out of this, I can't even begin to explain. Because I'm not wasting time and energy trying to draft a text that I think will be interesting, going back and forth about our weeks and talking about these mundane things that don't really matter, just for the sake of feeling validated. And then I think the concern is, well, will the person that you're dating think that you're not interested if they're not hearing from you every day early on? But I established pretty early in dating, hey, I'm not necessarily like the biggest texter, but feel free to call me if you want to talk. And a phone call is not going to last 4 hours. Most likely, it's going to be a quick, maybe 20-minute check-in at the end of the day. You're actually going to get to hear their voice. You're going to feel more connected. Going back and forth over a text, I think, just doesn't have the same effect. And I say all this because I think if you can prioritize in-person, real dates, and then FaceTimes or phone calls in between, you will find that not only do you get to know the person better, but you don't establish this false relationship based on back and forth texting in your head. Let me know your thoughts. Drop them in the comments.
I think the best thing that I did for my dating life was to cut out all that mindless texting.
Go back and watch her video. But what she's talking about is something I've been telling my friends about for years. Stop allowing these men to hit you up and say nothing. I don't do it. Assertive and direct communication is the first sign to know that we align. I don't engage in how'd you sleep, how was your day, what you doing, none of those things. All that is, get that out of here. What you need to be, what's going to create a connection, a genuine connection for me, is stating exactly why you're here. So even if it's the very first time you're contacting me, keep it real. Hey, I found you attractive. I came in here to see if maybe I could get to know you, or we can establish a connection, or I could take you out. Boom. If you're not somebody who likes to just immediately go from get your number to plan a date, you like a little vetting period, I understand. But let's actually get on the phone, or actually just get into what we're talking about. When you call your best friend, when I call my best friend, I don't be like, hey girl, how you doing? No, I just get right to the T. That's how I want to be addressed. That's how I want my conversations to go. When I talk to my friends or even somebody I like, I don't ask a bunch of questions, because to me it seems like you're trying to force a conversation. I just talk. And then that's just going to create a conversation in itself. It's going to evolve it organically. So engaging in how'd you sleep, it doesn't matter how I slept. Engaging in how was your day. When you become the person who's created the space and the connection that I need, I will tell you about my day without you asking. Or maybe when we're in person and I actually feel like I want to share, we'll get to it. But just hit me up with what you doing, how you doing, how's life, da-da-da-da-da. I don't want to hear none of that. I want you to get to the point when you're talking to me. And I just want to add, that goes for when you do get to the point where you want to plan a date. I'm not the girl who's like, you can't take me to Cheesecake Factory, you can't take me here, or whatever the case may be. But I am the person you need to plan. You need to have a time. You need to tell me exactly what's going on, what's the dress code, whatever the case may be. So, for example, even if it's a coffee date, I would like you to be thoughtful about it. I want to see if we can meet at this time on this day at this place. Send if you really him for real, you'll see the link so I can look for myself and really get a gauge of what I'm doing. These people who are like, so they're just laissez-faire with their planning. I can't do that. My time, it just feels like you don't give a fuck about my time and how valuable it is, and you really don't know what you're gonna do with me, and therefore I don't know what I'm gonna do with you, so I'm not gonna do nothing. So I don't know. Watch her video, and I encourage people to just be more assertive with their planning and with their conversation and who they're connecting themselves to and allowing access to them. Because all that small talk, mindless conversation, mindless texting, you're just allowing access to somebody who really doesn't have any intentions for you.
I had a huge reality check when it came to dating recently. End of last year, I was talking to this guy who was a great guy, like all around, hands down, gentleman, never tried me, perfect guy, perfect catch, really. Caveat is that he never texted me. Personally, I'm used to a lot of guys like just texting me consistently on a regular basis, and he just wasn't doing that, but he would call and actually make plans with me. And I was thinking, damn, I really want someone who's gonna be more consistent with me and sure about me. So I asked, and the universe delivered. A love bomber. Someone who was super consistent with me every single day, had texted me good morning, checked in on me, like it was a constant text stream 24/7. Problem is, he was also love bombing me. I really had to take a deep look inside and figure out what it is that I'm looking for. And I came to the realization that if I'm just meeting someone, why would I think that it would be okay to have access to them 24/7? You don't know me. And what is it triggering inside of me that I feel like I need that person's attention at all times? A lot of you are gonna come for me on this, but hear me out. A high quality man is probably going to be pretty busy working on the things that are important to him. What inside of you thinks that you should have access to him 24/7 in the very beginning? Maybe when the relationship progresses, yes. And I know a lot of you are saying, well, we always have our phone in our hand. It takes 2 seconds. I get it. But hear me out. That same person that's texting you on a continuous basis nonstop is looking for this thrill, this chase, and they're probably texting multiple people at once. The thing with this is that that thrill and that chase always burns out. A man who actually has a purpose in life doesn't have that much time to be giving out in the very beginning. Short story long, go for the slow burn, not the guy that is going to be obsessed with you in the very beginning, because I promise you he is probably love bombing you. And if you want more dating content, hit the follow.
There was nothing that annoyed me more than somebody that would text just for the sake of text. So be thoughtful. Instead of giving lukewarm bullshit responses or just saying hey 1,000 times every single day, have a conversation with somebody. Offer some kind of depth, offer a reason for texting, or I don't know, pick up the phone and have a conversation, make a plan, and go hang out with them in person. If you choose not to, then don't be surprised if people just stop answering you when they start to realize these conversations are going nowhere.
Ever again. I've had enough.
I totally agree with what the lady said. She makes perfect sense to me. Are you gonna save time for me or focus on getting to know one another? Or are we gonna date because testing is just mindless and it comes with excuses because you're not ready to give me your all, or you're not ready for commitments? Because it really does with true people in general who have no real interest in any kind of relationship with you, because I've never tested a man except for scheduling phone calls or dates. So ladies, you need to know your time. It's very precious, okay? Especially from dating apps, because most of these men are in relationship and some of them are married, and the easiest way they can get away with stuff like this is by testing. So their current partner don't know they are obviously cheating on them. Please don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comment section. If you think it doesn't matter if a man tests or call with you, do not forget to subscribe and like. Thank you.